What up, Fat Finger Squad? You are now tuned into the network. Today's topic is RIP version 2. Yes, routing information protocol. Some of y'all that are new to this might not even heard of this routing protocol, because guess what? It's not even on the CCNA exam blueprint. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and bring that up. What is going on, Fat Finger Squad? Let me see if I could pull up those exam topics here. Verify that, because I really don't think it's on there. But y'all know how much I love this book. And let's see here. Bring those topics over real quick. Can y'all hear me? Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Run me with that like button if you can, because y'all know we 35 episodes deep, and I still have yet to get everything perfect. Whether it's the lighting, or it's the microphone, or what else? I'm always doing something, forgetting something. The camera. I got the camera today. RIP is pretty easy. That's correct, plant-based brother. This should be a really easy lab. RIP is one of the. I guess that's the reason why they still kind of teach RIP as far as routing information. I mean, as far as routing protocols go, because it is an easy routing protocol to set up. And it's a good way. It gives you foundational skills on routing protocols and how they work and stuff like that. As you know, and then and after you progress, learning, you start using OSPF and BGP and those other routing protocols, and you'll see that they're kind of similar, but those are more complex. So RIP is a easy way to kind of learn how routing protocols work, and I think that's the reason why they let us. They still kind of teach that to this day. To this day. So we got this book right here. This is the lab the lab guide we usually use. 101 Labs Cisco CCNA version 4. You need to copy this from 101labs.net. Learn by doing. It's authored by Paul Browning, co-authored by Farai Tafa. This guy's a CCIE. Experts agree that we retain only 10% of what we read and 90% of what we do. And that's why I love this book. We are on page 198 of this book, lab number 46, configuring RIP version 2. So there was 3 versions of RIP, right? They had RIP version 1, and then RIP version 2. They had a couple, I guess, let me look up those, there's a couple things I wanted to look up. What did I say I was going to look up first? The exam topics. I'll be all over the place. I noticed that too. Y'all give me a second here. Plus, y'all know I want to let the late stragglers come in too and stuff like that. Exam topics. Where we at here? Lab guide, official, exam topics. Here we go, right here. All right, let me bring those bad boys over. Boop. And then y'all see, for this lab, we only need 2 routers. So if you want to go ahead and put 2 routers on your topology, whether you're using EvenG or GNS3 or even hardware, just drag and drop 2 routers. But you'll see, if I control F here, RIP is not in there. It is in the middle of the word description though. Yeah, there is no RIP on the Cisco exam. I haven't checked the book to see if they even talk about RIP. But like I said, they probably teach this stuff. Like I said, just so you can at least understand how routing protocols work, and it's an easy routing protocol, like my man plant-based brother over there mentioned. That was the exam topics. What else I said I wanted to point out? While late stragglers come in, let's go ahead and drag and drop 2 routers like this, back to back. Right, router 1 on the left, router 1 on the right, and then we'll get to labeling and cabling. We're going to go from, they didn't say which interface, so I'll just pick that first interface. They said they wanted serial interfaces on this. Well, you know what? I don't have serial interfaces on my router here, so, and they even asked us that too. Maybe I should do packet tracer today. If y'all, that way we can get some clocking and serial in here. But you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm gonna just use the fast Ethernet interfaces. Hopefully you guys know how to do clocking. I don't have any serial interfaces on my routers over here, so. Let me see. Could you do that on what you gotta do for the template real quick? Configure template. where do you put the I thought there's a way to put serial interfaces there. That's gig, fast Ethernet. Y'all know which interface would be considered the fast Ethernet interfaces? I mean, not fast Ethernet, serial. Does anybody know? It's not the A1 there, right? Only OSPF. Yes, so Gonzalo, like Gonzalo mentioned, there's only OSPF is the only routing protocol that is covered on the CC, or that is tested in the CCNA exam. Something else I want to point out though, even though that is the only topic, I mean the only routing protocol, if you pull up the exam guidelines again, we'll start here in a couple minutes. You look at the top of the exam topics right there. It says the following topics are general guidelines for the content likely to be included on this exam. However, keyword there, other related topics may also appear on the exam on any specific delivery of the exam. So in other words, any of this shit free game. And if they want to throw some other stuff in the exam, they could do that if they really wanted to. What's pretty odd too though is EIGRP, which is a routing protocol that is developed by Cisco, is not on this is the exam blueprint. As you can see here, if I just type in EIGRP, but you know, I guarantee they're going to ask you a question on EIGRP in the CCNA exam. I'm pretty sure they're going to ask you. So that's why, like, these exam blueprints, man, don't, like, you want to trust them, but don't trust them 100%. You want to try to get as much study as you can. Yeah, I just find it really odd that they don't put EIGRP in the CCNA exam. That's just, I don't know, man. That's a okie doke they're trying to pull on you, man. I don't know, man. I don't get that. But anyways, we're going to go back to back. Let me do some labeling real quick, and then we'll start, I say at around 8:10 or whatever. Come on, Cisco, give me a effing break. Question, do you ever have messed with serial interfaces in your real world? Not me. Plant-based brother, I have not messed with serial interfaces. I have not. However, when I worked in the NOC, I did mess with serial interfaces, but we didn't really mess with it. We like have to like bounce the port or whatever, like shut it down, bring it back up, stuff like that. We didn't do too much configuring in the NOC though. So, you know, when running, 9 times out of 10, we're running show commands, right? And you will see the serial interfaces as we're logged into the devices, but it's not like we are actually having to configure them, because that's in the NOC, you don't really do that. So, if that answers your question, yeah, in the real world, I seen them, but not physically, because like now I'm a network engineer. I'm actually touching hardware, racking, stacking, cabling, and stuff like that. No, I have not. I don't cable up serial interface. But then again, I work mostly in the local area network, so I'm dealing with mostly with switches. So I haven't been too much in the data center just yet, and you know, I just got the job. So, anywho, I'm gonna just back up off the serial interfaces, leave them bad boys alone. And I'm gonna just go with these gigabit ether, my gigabougie ports right now. Call this guy router 1, this guy router 2. Let's get to labeling. That's what else I wanted to bring up. Some fun facts about RIP version 2. So yeah, I said there was 3 versions, right? We have RIP version 1, and then RIP version 2, which had a couple of some new features and stuff like that. And then they had RIP NG. You would have thought they would have said RIP version 3, but no, they came up with RIP NG, which is RIP next generation. And that is it's basically RIP for IPv6, right? And you know what IPv6 is? That's like new IP addressing scope. It allows it had more IP addresses available and stuff like that, and it's the wave of the future, you know. But a lot of companies and organizations have not really implemented IPv6 just as of yet. But you know, like I said, I've been studying this stuff since like 2011. They've been talking about implementing IPv6 for the longest, but there's only like 1 or 2 countries in this world that's like even halfway has adopted IPv6. So, anywho, let me stop talking and get the labeling and cabling. This network is the 192.168.0.0 network /30, right? Y'all know what that subnet mask is? Anybody know? If you want to go ahead and put that in the chat, I know what it is. I just like quizzing y'all. Y'all know how I do over here, right? We're going to put 2 loopbacks on router 1. It's going to be loop, coop, back to 0, loop. If I could type today, the hell, loopback 100. He's going to be 10.10.100.1/27. The other guy is going to be Fat Finger Squad. Y'all see that already? Don't let me make any mistakes, y'all. Loopback 101. He is going to be 10.101.1/26. Oh, they playing with us today. They got some funky subnet masks I hope you guys get your subnetting, mental subnetting ready today. So this guy's going to be .1 and that guy's going to be .2 for that network right there. I'll go ahead and put them in there just in case some people need that to visualize it real quick. So he's going to be .1. That's going to be .2. All right, that make any sense? Anybody, for y'all that don't know, maybe anybody that's new to kind of like IP addressing and stuff like that. Basically, just the network, excuse me, the subnet mask or subnet, the network address that we're going to be working with, right? 192.168.0.0. So he's going to be, this guy right here is going to be, that interface right there is going to be 192.168.0.1, right? That's the last octet right there. I mean, basically that last number. And he's going to be 192.168.0.2, right? And for y'all that are just tuning in, again, this is the labeling and cabling. I like to call this part, right? This is the tedious part that we do, configuring IP addresses, labeling stuff like that, cabling the devices and stuff like that. I'm gonna do this stuff off stream once we get to like more complex topics and we have more subscribers and they ain't got time to be waiting on configuring like all this easy stuff right here, the tedious part, right? So lab objective is for us to learn and understand how to configure RIP version 2 on a Cisco IOS router. Protocols such as RIP, BGP, and EIGRP are not listed on the exam syllabus, like I said, but can be tested. Y'all see what he said there, right? Which is why we have included those labs. So there you go. That's the reason why. And I thought about skipping this lab. I'm like, RIP ain't even on the exam. Why am I even going to do this? But I was like, you know what? I love this book, and I like the way this guy think. Let me go ahead and put it on the schedule. Boom. That's the reason why he did it, because they might ask you a question on RIP. Like, for example, how often do RIP updates get broadcasted in the network? Does anybody know that? That's a fun fact for y'all. How often do RIP updates get broadcasted in the network? Pop quiz for the day. Hey, NetworkBruh, love your content. Hope to be a network engineer this year by obtaining my CCNA, CCNP. Man, good luck with that, Jonathan Hardy. I know you can do it. For the longest, I promise you, for the longest, I wanted to be a network engineer. I believe in the law of attraction. I just kept believing in it. I kept studying for this stuff. You see, I started a YouTube channel. I was like, I really want to do this. And I ended up, I didn't get my CCNP just yet. You know, I got my CCNA. I was one exam shy of getting my CCNP, but you know, I ended up getting that job, that as my career. So I believe you can do it too, Jonathan. If I can do it, you can do it as well. I hate reading. I'm incapable of reading, but when the old book is so boring. Any advice? Man, listen. That is so true. It's hard to, like, some of this material can be so dry, man, and it's hard to, like, I can sit here and read it, and that's why I like what he says here. Experts agree that we retain only 10% of what we read. 10%. So you can sit here and read a whole chapter and you only read 10% of it. I mean, remember 10% of the stuff, but 90% of what we do. So my advice to you is to do a lot of this stuff hands-on. You're going to remember a lot of the topics. And then if you have a question, then look up some RFCs, look up some fun facts. And Danny got it right. 30 seconds is how often RIP gets broadcasted. The routing table gets broadcasted in the network. See, just little things like the little fun facts like that, those they ask you those kind of questions on the exam. So my thing to you is to do a lot of lab every day and hands-on, and get you a copy of this book, man. And that's why I love this book. So Dave W checking in. Appreciate that, Dave. We see you. Hey, just passed my CCNA exam this week. I didn't have time to tell you, but your CCNA contents are super helpful. More power. Thanks you again for your dedication, man. I appreciate that, Joshua, man. It's messages like that keep me going. People will be DMing me all the time on Instagram or on Twitter and stuff like that. So, when I get those messages, I really appreciate that, man. So let's go ahead and power these bad boys on and get started. I'm going to console on the router 1, console on the router 2. Yeah, I really appreciate the positive feedback from you guys, man. I started this channel about 2 years ago when I studied for the CCNP switch exam. Actually, I just passed switch, and then I started to take route, and I was like, man, this is a lot of material. And then I remember reading from somewhere or somebody saying something about, if you're able to teach somebody a specific topic, then that's when you've learned it at a deep level, right? Like, you can sit here and read it, you understand it at like maybe the 10% level, right? And then if you're able to do stuff hands-on, then maybe you understand. I'm just throw out arbitrary numbers, right? You understand it at a 50% level. But if you're able to teach it and have somebody understand it as you teach it, like say your girlfriend or your wife or whatever, and she started to understand RIP routing protocol, then you've done a good job. That's how you understand the topic really well, if you're able to teach it. So once I understood that concept, I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and start a YouTube channel and start teaching people some of this stuff, and that's what I started to do. So, and that's what got me to start this channel. And You know, we about 30 something hundreds, 3,000 something subscribers strong, and my goal is to try to get, you know, 5,000 by the summer. Don't forget the 80 questions about RIP and EIGRP. Yeah, for sure, Danny. The administrative distance for routing protocol. Anybody know that? And I'm pretty sure Danny got that answer queued up already, since he said to don't forget those questions. Remember what administrative distance is, right? It's how far, actually, so administrative distance is a number between 0 to 255, right? The higher the administrative distance, the worse or believable the route is, right? So you have connected routes, right? A route that's connected to you, physically connected to you with a cable, right? Like this right here. That's going to be, the administrative distance is 0. It's the most believable route because we know we can reach that route. We have a cable that's connected from router 1 to router 2. It's 0. It's the best route you can get. After that is a static route. That's another believable route. That is the administrative distance for that is 1, right? And we know that's pretty believable because the administrator or network administrator or network engineer, right? RIP, as Smooth got it correct, the administrative distance for RIP is 120, right? I'll probably bring up a chart maybe later on, but we got these bad boys powering on here. Yeah, I know. I said I want to get my hardware going because these routers, man, I don't know if it's because maybe it's my laptop. I don't have that much, you know, RAM on. I have 16 gigs of RAM on this laptop, but you see, look, I got these CPU hog messages when they booting up. That's why I want to get my hardware going. But then it's easier to teach you guys because y'all can see the topology like this. So maybe I'll do my hardware and then I'll draw the topology on maybe on Visio or Draw IO, and then y'all can see it that way, and then I'll, you know, console in and stuff like that. Because like I said, I bought a lot of like used hardware equipment. There's a guy that lived not too far from me. He's trying to get rid of a whole bunch of crap, and I said I'll take them off your hands, man. So I know that you can use Even G for all you Even G boys and fanboys and GNS3 fanboys over there. I know you could use these simulators and emulators and stuff like that, but y'all know I like tinkering with hardware and stuff like that. There's a lot of things you can't really simulate, like, you know, a broken cable, a fiber cut, or you know, a bad port. You can't simulate that kind of stuff on virtual devices like this right here. So we're gonna go to global config mode, task 1. Actually, let's read the purpose and then we'll move on to task 1. We only got 3 tasks today, so we should be able to wrap this up if I don't talk so damn much. RIP version 2 configuration is a fundamental skill. By default, when RIP is enabled on a router, both versions 1 and version 2 updates are sent and received. And like my man Danny said, they're updated every 30 seconds, right? Since RIP version 1 is considered obsolete, like I said, because of today's subnetted networks, it's imperative that you know how to enable RIP version 2, the second version, like I said, right? As a Cisco engineer, I hate that last sentence. They say that in every damn lab. So use the topology. We did that. Task 1 is to configure the host names. If y'all know how to do that, go ahead and do that. That's real easy. You just type in, you go to global config mode and type in host name, and then R1 for that guy, and then the other guys R2, right? Y'all know how to do that, right? Anybody got any questions so far or anything like that? Sorry, I'm late. It's all good. Anderson Tech Repair. Is that why we have crossover cables? Is what why we have crossover cables? What is the question there, Danny? I mean, Dave. Crossover cables is what we use if we want to connect like devices. So like in this case, a router 1 and a router 2, right? You want to use a straight through cable for devices that are like, they're not like. So like a PC to a switch or a switch to a router. You want to use a straight through cable, right? That's when the cables is just, they do go straight through, they go straight across. Pins 1 through, the cables 1 through 8, they all go straight across. Right, whereas crossover, no, that's rollover. I can't remember what rollover and crossover, the difference between the two is. But I'm not sure. That doesn't seem like a complete question, Dave. What do you mean? Is that why we have crossover cables? So we're going to do router 2, configure terminal. Anybody got any questions so far or anything like that? I mean, other than Dave. You use crossover cables for devices that receive and transmit on the same pairs. Yes, exactly. On the same pairs. So, host name, I thought that was straight through. I don't know. Maybe that's crossover. I can't remember, but that's not what we doing today. So that's router 2. Task 2. Remember, we only got 3 tasks, so we're already 33% complete. We already did the host names. We did the labeling and cabling. Configure a back-to-back serial connection. I don't have serial. I have fast Ethernet, right? Configure the DCE interface. Serial 00 to provide clocking at a clock speed. Maybe I'll talk about that, but I don't have any serial interfaces on this. Maybe I should try to put that on a template so that way we can go over serial. But right now, we're only working with gigabit ports. They want us to configure the IP addresses on that guy and that guy, right? So this guy is going to be 192.168.0.1 and 192.168.0.2, right? Y'all see that right there? So let's go ahead and do that. I don't, like I said, I don't have serial interfaces on here, so we're going to skip that. If you have Packet Tracer or any other simulator, you know, put your serial interfaces there, and you got to do what you got to provide what's called clocking. One side has to be considered the DCE device. That's the device that's going to do the clocking. This book is calling for router 1 to do the clocking, right? You're going to do, you go to the serial interface, and then you put clock rate, and then the rate that they're asking for. In this book, they're asking for the clock rate of 2 megabytes per second on the clocking end. And the router 2 is just going to receive the clocking on the other side. I don't think you got to configure the clocking on that side. So, and I'll show you how to do it, actually. I think you could do that on here. Interface, I didn't even put the labels up right there. That's 00, and that's 00, right? GI00. Rollable cable is to connect your switch to router. To your switch or router. I guess we got Danielle Williams in the bill. What's up, Danielle? Serial, what am I doing? If you wanted to, no, you can't do clock. So you'd have to do clock on you'd have to have a serial interface. So I can't even just demonstrate that for y'all. So we got to do the IP address on this guy. IP address is 182.168.0.1/30, which is 255. The last octet is 252, right? We're gonna no shut that because remember router interfaces, they're automatically down. They're by default they are down, so you have to bring them up. Unlike a switch, do show IP interface brief to verify our work. And we're gonna exclude the unassigned and check it out. We see 192.168.0.1, so that's correct. And then we want to verify the subnet mask. Show IP interface brief, and then include internet, not brief. Show IP interface GI00, include internet, and then we can see. Unless anybody know a faster way than do it, that's how I do it to verify the subnet mask. So that's how I do it on that. Router 2, we do the same thing on that interface right there, and then bring it up, right? So interface GI00, and his IP address is 192.168.0.2, subnet mask of /30, 252, right? And then no shut that bad boy. Verify our work. Remember when you done configuring something, verify it, and then when you're done with that, run another show command to verify it again. Exclude unassigned. I'm gonna keep drilling that in y'all head, and I'll be telling myself that, and I find myself teaching you guys that, and I try to do that all the time at work. When you're done configuring something, verify it, and then when you're done after that, run a show command and verify it again, and see if you can run another show command to verify it again. Always verify your work. I don't care how simple the task is, man, because that's why I call us the Fat Finger Squad, because you be fat fingering stuff and you realize, oh snap, the reason why I didn't work because I had one, I typed the IP address wrong. So always want to check your work and stuff like that, right? So we did the IP addressing. He said he wants to configure the loopbacks on router 1 with the IP addresses illustrating the topology. So these two loopbacks right here, right? Loopback 100 and 101, we gonna put them on router 1, right? So we go router 1 and configure those two loopbacks, right? Y'all know how to do that, right? Y'all know what a loopback is, right? Interface loopback 100. A loopback is basically a virtual IP or virtual interface. So it's not a physical interface like the port, right? The RJ45 port. We're creating a virtual one, and we use that for testing purposes. Like in this case, we might have to ping from router 2 to router 1, or we're sharing the routes. I'm not sure. I haven't done this lab yet, so we'll find out. So that interface, loopback 100, his IP address is, why is he not working there? Oh, I got to fully type it. So 10.100.1 subnet mask is /27. So that is, I got to do some mental subnetting. 255.255.255.27 should be 128, 192, 224, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we don't have to no shut that because the loopback interfaces come up automatically, right? So, but what we do need to verify, show IP interface brief, right? And then exclude unassigned. We have that, right? That's loopback 100. Right, 10.100.1, and then we're gonna verify the we want to verify the subnet mask. So I'm gonna say loop 100 like that, and then let's just say include internet, unless anybody know a faster way. And yes, I got that subnet mask correct, /27. So we good to go there, right? We gotta go to router. No, we gotta stay on here, and we gotta configure loopback 100, right? That guy right there, the second one. Y'all with me so far? Yes, to configure your iOS with PuTTY. don't know what you mean by that, Danny. Sorry, my man. What's a loopback interface for? So yeah, a loopback, like I said, I think I explained that, right? It's a virtual interface. We use it for testing purposes, or if we want to share routes, or if we want to. Remember yesterday when we was doing the what lab was that yesterday? We did IP floating static routes, right? We instead of creating clouds or separate networks and stuff like that, we just put a loopback on that address and we try to ping it. So it's kind of like instead of putting a host, we could put a loopback. So like let's say we got router 2 and we want to test some connectivity to router 1, but not necessarily that interface. Maybe we want to test something back here, right? So we just create some loopbacks. It's like putting extra computers or something, and we ping those since they're on a different network. That's what we create loopbacks for. That's one of the reasons, if that makes any sense, right? Plus, they're always up. You know, if you have connectivity to it, they're always up. You have to manually shut it down for it to go down. They're not just gonna go down. You know, it's got to be something physically wrong with the device for the loopback to go down. But 9 times out of 10, they're gonna stay up. We said we're gonna do interface loopback 101. His IP address is, y'all run me with that like button if y'all like what y'all see so far. 10.10.101.1 subnet mask /26, which is 255.255.255. We said it's gonna be 128, so 192. So 192, right? Had to do some mental subnetting there, and then we're gonna verify that subnet mask with 101. Is it /26? Yes, I got it correct. Y'all see that? Good app to practice that is called Practice Subnetting. If you go to Android, the Google Play Store, there's an app called Practice Subnetting. You use that. It throws random IP addresses at you, and it'll ask you what's the magic number, what's the first host address, what's the last host address, what's the broadcast number, what's the subnet mask, all that stuff. And that's how you get some practice with Practice Subnetting. So, and if you guys don't know, I've started a Discord server. So if y'all want to communicate with me and some other people on off stream and stuff like that, let me go ahead and share that with y'all real quick. Invite people, join the Discord server. I started a little community there. We talk about a lot of stuff, and like Saturday I was late to my stream. I let people know, hey y'all, I'm gonna be late because I was playing basketball and we won all these games and I didn't realize I was gonna take this long. So no, 224 is /27. I see what you're saying. What you saying? I did that, didn't I? Yeah. That was the first one. 224, I did for the first one right there. So that first octet, that's /26. So 100 has /27, right? Loopback 100. And then the other loopback, let's do this. Let's just do loop, right? And I'll show you what I meant. Right? Nope. Show IP interface loop. Include interface loop back. Show IP interface. Why can't I do that? Let's do 1 and then pull it up because that's an ambiguous command. Nope, you can't do that either. You just show IP interface. Let's do this. Let's just do this. Show IP interface. I don't want to do loopback interface brief, man. Let's do show IP interface, man. So, because there's got to be a faster way to find out, but to filter it down, actually, right? So loopback 101 has /26, so that's correct. I guess what I could do is, yeah, I did loop. I don't know why. And then loopback 100 has /27, so that is correct. You see what I'm saying? But no, you good, Gonzalo. You good. All right. So what else we needed to do here? We did the IP addressing. We did the loopbacks. Task 3, which is the final task. Enable RIP version 2 on router 1. And configure RIP version 2 routing interface for the loopback interfaces and the serial 00 interface. Well, guess what? I don't have any serial interfaces. Verify on either router 1 or router 2 that RIP is being enabled using the appropriate commands. So the way to enable RIP, well, actually, I don't want to say that. The way to get into the routing process is, for almost all of them, you say router. So let me go ahead and go do that. So global config mode, right? And you go to router 1, and you're gonna say router, and I'll just click the question mark for the context sensitive help, right? That tells you all the other routing protocols that you could enable with this command right here. You just type in router once you're in global config mode, right? I can enable BGP, I can enable EIGRP, ISIS. And no, I'm not talking about the insurgent group, not ISO, EIGRP, Lisp, all this, right? What we came to do today, RIP, Routing Information Protocol. That's the one we want to we want to enable, right? So we type in router and then RIP. And that's probably why they want us to learn it, RIP first, because that's the easiest routing protocol to learn. And notice all of them, when you're going into the configuration mode for them, you type in the keyword router and then the routing protocol. And that's what we're doing here, right? So router RIP, and then that's it. You just press enter, and that once you see that CR, that means carriage return. That lets you know, okay, there's nothing else you can type here, and you should be able to go into the global config or the configuration mode for that routing process. So you press enter, and notice it says config router. That means I'm in the routing configuration mode for whatever routing protocol it is. In this case, it's RIP, Routing Information Protocol, right? Y'all know I'm not a big fan of this. I have a video on my channel that I did like 2 years ago when I went on this rant about RIP. I'm like, why are they teaching us this stuff, man? I've yet to see it on a production network. And plus, it's just an old routing protocol, man. I put in movie clips on there. I'm just like, oh my God, why are they teaching us this, man? But I almost took it down, but I left it up for comedic value. But they still teaching us this. Anyways, so he said they want us to configure RIP version 2. So right now, by default, when you just enable RIP, by default, I want to say it's in version 1. So we got to type in version 2 for us to explicitly put the router in version 2 mode. And the way you do that is you type in version 2 when you're in router configuration mode, right? So version 2, and notice you can put either 1 or 2, right? And we can verify with I want to say you do show IP protocols. Let me see. Yes. No. But it let us know. So we did put in RIP. Routing protocol is no, it's not. RIP is not on yet. It's not turned on yet. I wanted to see where you can verify that you're which one is by default. I thought by default RIP version 1 is on. I don't think version 2 is on. But let me go ahead and do that. So that way, because we're in the last task and I'm talking too damn much. So RIP router, RIP, right? Like we said, RIP. Go into that mode and we'll say version 2. That puts it in version 2. And then let's do a show IP protocols just to see. Show IP protocols. I think you have to actually define your network for it to be. So it's not on yet. So I think you got to actually define your network. So in this case, they said they want us to configure routing version 2 for the loopback interfaces. So basically, we want to advertise these networks right here. Right. So basically, when we turn on when we turn on RIP, right, we want to advertise these networks, right, because he don't know about it. And I'll show you. I'll prove that to y'all. So we go to router 2, right? He should know only about the connected network to him. This network right here, because he's directly physically connected to him. That's how come he know about it. These are considered remote networks. They're somewhere back here, right? It's virtually in here, but he don't know about it, though. So if we do show IP route, look at the routing table, right? At the top, we'll see we have the codes, right? Let us know where they are, right? We have a C and an L there, plus the network. So he know about the 192.168.0.0 network, right? Which is this right here, right? It says /24 because it is a classful network. It's classful network, but it's subnetted with a /30, right? So we have this right here. He know about this network. Is directly connected to him. He got a cable. That's how you know about it, right? So, and then what was I gonna say? That's the subnet. That's the network address for it. And then he know about this because it's locally configured on him. So this is the interface that's right there, right? 192.168.0.2, right? Remember we configured that IP address right there? So that's how come he know about it. Of course he know about that. But he don't know about these two networks right here that are sitting somewhere back here. They're loopbacks. What router 1 is going to do is we're going to turn on RIP. And that's what routing protocols do. Routing protocols share networks. It's kind of like y'all know I like comparing networking to roads and highways, right? So it's kind of like if you have a way to get to a specific city, right? And you have it on a map, and you know this way, and you know this way, and you let other people know, like, hey, look, this is how y'all get out of the neighborhood if y'all want to get out of here, right? Or if you want to get to this city, this is how y'all do it. That's what RIP does. That's what EIGRP does. That's what BGP does. It's a way of sharing routes to other routers. That's what routing protocols do, right? Y'all with me so far? Kelvin says show IP interface section. Jesus Christ, man, let's do all that shit. But I guess you could do that to filter it down. I was trying to verify the subnet mask, but I guess I could do that too. You're right. RIP won't show up in the protocol's output until you enable the network statement. Right, correct. That's exactly what I was going to do, Kelvin. Default is RIP version 1. You have to set RIP version 2 for Classful routing protocol. Y'all listen to my man Kelvin. Y'all check out his channel too. He's really smart. He knows a lot about this stuff. I'll plug you right now real quick. But anyways, yeah, so just like I figured, or just like I predicted, we're not seeing those networks because RIP is not being is not turned on yet because I didn't put any network statements. And so in order for you, like I was saying, tell about everybody else about the other networks, you have to put what's called network statements. So you type in network and you say what networks you want to broadcast or let other people know or other routers know about, right? And that's what we're gonna do. So NetworkBruh help me get my CCNP route before the exam change. Oh man, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that my videos helped you out, Daniel. Yeah, I took the route just before they changed too, man, and I passed that exam. Like it took me like 2 tries, but I finally passed it. But I'm glad that my videos helped you out, Daniel, man. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and put those network statements like I was saying. So yeah, like I said, router 2 don't know about these 2 networks yet, right? So we're gonna go to router 1 and put what I said, the network statements. But we're advertising the networks, not the IP addresses, but the networks. So that means you need to know the subnet, the subnets for these 2 right here. And these subnet masks kind of like make it funky real quick, right? So, let's see here. What is the network address for that? I want to say it's .0 for both of them, right? It should be .0 for both of them. The magic number for the first one should be every 1632 networks. So yeah, I think they're both .0. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, Kelvin. 100.0 and then 101.0 for both networks. Oh Lord, don't die on me. But yeah, Daniel, I'm glad, man. Congrats on getting your CCNP route. Did you get the did you pass T-shoot after that too? So we're gonna say network and broadcast these 2 networks right here, right? So 10.10.100.0. And then let's go to router 2 and see what we got so far when we do that, right? Show IP routes. And now he does not know about it. Does that because we got to... Did we turn on the router? I mean the interface? Show IP interface brief. He don't know. Oh, you know what? Because they come every 30 seconds. I mean, every 30 seconds. So he probably don't know about it just yet. So you got to wait 30 seconds. That's the reason why. Let's do a show IP protocols real quick and see if we actually turned it on. Show IP protocols, right? And now you see RIP right there, right? So now you're saying, okay, we sent 2 advertisements there for both of these networks right here. So now we're subbing. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. I don't think it's the .0 network. Network. Okay, so let's see here. So yeah, like I was saying, this is why RIP is not very scalable, or it's not very how do I say, efficient. You're sending updates every 30 seconds. The next one is doing 19 seconds here, right? So I'm pretty sure he got those routes now. Remember how the routing table looked like? He only knew about these 2 networks right here. They're not really networks. He know about 1 network, but he know about the one that was connected to him, right? This right here, this little cable right here. And then he know about that interface, which is obviously he know about it because it's configured on him, right? So we do a show IP route again, and we'll see that he does not know about that network yet. Probably because we got no auto summary, or we need to put no auto summary, or we just need to put the correct network address. Let's put the other network address because I think it's .0. Nope, it's not. So this, I need to put I'm putting the wrong network statement, I believe, which was basically like taking, let me see. So I took, remember to enable the physical interface too. I thought I did, Kelvin, but let me see though. Let's do show IP interface brief, exclude unassigned. Those are all up, and then go to router 2 and then show IP interface brief, exclude unassigned, and those are up. So that interface is up. I want to say that because I'm using /27 and 26, I need to put no auto summary, but he does not know about those networks yet. So let's do this. Go to global config mode. Oops. Global config mode, right? And then let's put in another statement. Let's do a show. What was I gonna do? Show run and then section RIP. A section router. Let's do that. Router. That's what I meant to put. So we're putting, okay, so that's the problem here, I believe. We're broadcasting the whole 10 network, and that's not what we want. These funky subnet masks right here kind of make it real. So we gotta make sure we're putting the correct network address to not interface data. So you need to activate the interface under. Oh, okay. See, I don't even remember that. I thought that was interface under rep. Okay, so jeez, I forgot about that. Let's do this. Let's see here. I think you got to go to interface and then do router rip. Is that what you're saying, Kelvin? Let's do this. Configure terminal interface loopback 100. And then you saying rip enable? Is that what it is? I can't even remember. No, that's rip ng. What am I thinking? Router rip. I can't even remember how to even do that. That's the other thing too I like about this book. I always say that when I get stumped, right? This book has a solution guide, right? So right on the parts that you don't really know about or you get stumped or whatever, there's a solution guide right after the lab, right? And again, if you guys don't know what we're using, is this book right here called 101 Labs, Cisco CCNA version 4. You can copy this from 101labs.net or there's a link in the description box below. Got that from a minority mindset. If you guys ever watched that dude, follow. So let's see what he was talking about. We didn't need to do the we no shut those IP addresses. We went to router config mode. We did. Oh, they wanted the physical interface. I see what you're saying. The physical interface. So what they did was they just enabled, okay, so they enabled the network and they also had to broadcast that network right there, which is weird because he already know about that network. So this is what they did, right? We go to back to router config mode for RIP, right? So router, RIP, and then they put network, and then they put the network address. They broadcasted this network, which is I'm not sure if Kelvin wants to explain or chime in. Why would they need to broadcast this network address if he already know about it, right? I understand that he need to broadcast the 10 network for these guys right here, right? But why does he need to broadcast that network if he already know about it, right? Riddle me this, Batman. So 192.168, that was what I was missing, I believe. 0.0. 0.0. And they didn't put no subnet mask or anything like that. So they just left that as is. And then show IP protocols to see what routing protocols. Because remember, you can use more than one routing protocol on the router. So in this case, and that's the command you want to use if you want to know what networks you're broadcasting for RIP or BGP or whatever, instead of just doing a whole show run command. You want to try to not use show run because that's going to give you all the answers. And plus, not only that, you got to space to see the whole configuration. So it's best practice to use other commands other than show run, right? So we are broadcasting. That's probably what we was missing right there. So we wasn't, let me look at the first one, right? So the first time we ran this command, we definitely saw these two being broadcasted, right? We sent and received two there. So if we go back to the other one, when I ran show, there it is. See? Y'all see the first time we was broadcasting for those two loopbacks, but we was not broadcasting out of that interface. So that's what I was missing. I was missing, that's probably the reason why. So what Kevin said, RIP won't send RIP updates out of a non-RIP enabled interface. So that's the reason why. I did not enable RIP on the physical interface there. And that's what he meant there. So you need to enable both the networks that you want to advertise and the transit networks for RIP and any other IGP for that matter. You're thinking of BGP network statements. Kevin, that makes a lot of sense. So yes, man, y'all listen to my man, Kelvin, man. This is why he always come through in the clutch, man. So listen, what I was doing was I was broadcasting these networks, right? Broadcasting RIP out of these networks, right? Of course, he doesn't need to know about this network. He knows about it, right? But the problem is I'm not broadcasting these networks out of that interface. So yes, I'm broadcasting these networks, but they're not going out of this network. I mean, out of this interface because we didn't put that that last command, which was the where was it? That 198, 192 command. What was that? this right over. Come on, man. That right there. That's what I was missing. So you need to broadcast, like what Kelvin said, you need to broadcast it out of there as well. So that way the routing updates go to this right here. So now, and y'all see the difference between the two times that I typed show IP protocols, right? Here's the first time we ran show IP protocols. So I'll show y'all, right? Just like he said, we're sending updates every 30 seconds. Can you imagine if the network goes down for like 30 seconds, right? And then, you know, people's heads start popping out their cubicles like, hey, is your internet up? Your internet up? Finally, 30 seconds come by, right? Boom, the routes get updated. Oh, never mind, I'm back. I got my email. Can you imagine? That's how come RIP is just outdated, man. The next one is doing 19 seconds. This was at that time, right? And we were only broadcasting these two networks out of those two loopbacks, out of those two networks, right? But we wasn't broadcasting out of the physical interface right there, which was 192.168.0.1. So we did that with the command right over here. So we said, hey, go ahead and broadcast RIP out of that network as well. And once we ran show IP protocols again, we should theoretically see right there it said sending updates every 30 seconds, and then we added it right there. So now we sent the receive out of that. So let's run that command again real quick and see how many we sent the received. It's probably gonna be just 2 because he's not gonna receive anymore after that, is he? Yeah, that's it. So he's not going because he's not broadcasting RIP. Did they say they want us to do that on task on that task as well? The send and receive counters in show IP protocol shows the update counts sent out of loopback interfaces themselves, and since loopbacks are local, they are dead ends. I like, man. See, this is why I appreciate that, man. He's like, appreciate you being in here, Kelvin. So task 3 was enable RIP on router 1 and configure RIP version 2 for the loopbacks on loopback interfaces on 000 interface, which we don't have, and then verify on either router 1 or router 2 that RIP version 2 has been enabled using the appropriate command. So we pretty much wrapped it up. That was task 3. We just needed to run some show commands. There's a couple more we can run, right? We did show IP protocols that let us know how much we sent or received. We could also do show IP routes. He not gonna have the RIP routes. The other one should have some RIP routes. Right, so now these were the loopbacks we configured. So those are not really. But if we go to router 2, you remember how his first time his routing table looked like. He only knew about the 192.168.0.0 network, which is one that was directly connected to him. Right. So now if we run show IP route again, route. They didn't tell us to run any pings. Oh, probably because do we have to enable route on this guy too for that to happen? Because he should be able to see the loopback. Routes. Small scale. Let's see. RIP is a blunt route useful on extremes. Small scale on a lot of gear. Only support RIP on one or more interfaces. Large scale. RIP does not form adjacencies. Right, but it does not form adjacencies. But what I was trying to see, I thought he should be able to learn some RIP routes in his routing table. Let me see what they said. So now that since we've already wrapped it up, that was task 3. Let's see what they had in the solution guide there. When configuring RIP routing, you must use version 2 keyword under the RIP configuration mode, which we've done, right? By default, RIP is enabled, and this keyword is not issued. The Cisco IOS router will enable both RIP version 1 and version 2. So that's good to know. That was the question that I had. Which version is enabled by default? So really they're saying RIP version 1 is enabled by default is what they're saying. RIP 1 will be enabled for inbound and outbound routing updates, and RIP version 2 will be enabled only for inbound routing updates. This is illustrated below for a router configured for RIP routing, so which we did with the show IP protocols. The next thing to remember when enabling RIP is to always specify the network at its major classful boundary. And did we do that? I put the whole 10 dot whatever, and then it converted it to the classful boundary anyway. I'll show y'all that in a little bit. Remember, I put 10, 10, 101, or whatever, and then it changed it to 10.0.0.000, right? Because it works as only classful networks, I believe. So, for example, router 1 has 2 loopback interfaces, just like it said right here. So 10.10.100.1/27 and 10.10.101.26, right? Or /26, these two right here that I was mentioning before. Because these are part of the 10.0.0.0/8 subnet, which is a class A address, the RIP version network statement is configured using their major classful boundary, and it's configured as network 10.0.0.0 in RIP configuration mode. So I'll show y'all real quick, right, what I meant by that. So if the interface is not enabled, the control plane won't listen to RIP advertisements sent over the internet. So you need RIP to be enabled bidirectionally. Good to know. So the reason why he don't have them RIP routes is because he need RIP enabled as well, right? But he doesn't do neighborships, is what you're saying too, right? So let's go to router 2, enable RIP, and what network we need to do? I guess the 192.168, right? So router RIP, and then network 192.168.0.0, and then show IP routes. That's not going to enable it like that, right? He should know about. I thought he was gonna have those RIP routes there too, but remember, it's every 30 seconds. There it is right there. That's what I was expecting. So we needed to enable RIP on router 2 as well for us to see. And remember, this is what I was looking for. They didn't call for it in this book. That's why I was like, why they didn't? Okay, so I have to enable RIP on both of them. So if you look, remember when you do show IP route, you'll have the legend right here, or the codes at the top, right? Let me show you real quick. You have the legend right there, right? Local routes. This is what we came to look for, right? RIP. And that right there lets us know that R means it's a RIP route. And we know about the 10 network now, right? Because he didn't know about these two networks right here, the loopbacks, right? The administrative distance, as Danny mentioned, I believe it was Danny that mentioned it. The administrative distance is 120. This right here is the metric. RIP uses hop counts as a metric, right? Meaning every hop is how many is how far it is from the router. So if you got a network that's five routers away, then that's 5 hops, and that's what the metric will let you know how many it is. And how can we get there? Via 192.168.0.1, which would be the next hop, right? So how do we know about this is what it's telling us. How can we get to the 10.0 network? Well, you can get there via 192.168.0.1. How's that? The next hop, which is this right there, 192.168.0.1, and that's how we can get to those networks right there, which are sitting back here somewhere, just to make it like visually. That makes it a little bit better, right? So these networks sit back here, right? And then I'll explain that again. So this routing table lets us know to get to the 10 network, the administrative distance is 120. It's only 1 hop away, right? 1 hop away right there. And he said you can get there via 192.168.0.1. How far is that? It's right here, 192.168.0.1. And that's how you can get to the 10 network, right back here. And then I believe that's how long ago we got that update. And then you can get there via gig 00, our outgoing port, which is that way right there, gig 00, right? We'll run it again and see. Yeah, I think that's how long it'll take before he flushes that route, right? Am I correct in saying that? Kelvin. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Daniel, thanks, appreciate you guys. Thanks for the lessons. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So how often do I go live? Monday through Thursday, as Plant-Based Brother said, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes if I ain't got no life, I ain't got shit to do, I'll do it on the weekends too. But for the most part, I spend time with my daughter, play hoops, and play, chill with my girl, stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. So next time you guys want to follow along, y'all want me to that like button if y'all like what y'all see and the way y'all teach and stuff like that. I know there's other YouTubers that teach this stuff too, but y'all know I make it fire. Y'all know I keep it funky, man. Get you a copy of this book, 101 Labs, Cisco CCNA version 4. You can get a copy of this from 101labs.net. There's a link in the description box below. Experts agree that we retain only 10% of what we read, but 90% of what we do. And that's why I love this book. If I didn't realize that you got to enable RIP on both of the routers or both devices for them to see each other's routes and stuff like that, if I didn't practice that hands-on, I wouldn't have remembered that. Plus, I got my sidekick over there, Kelvin, which I'll show y'all. Y'all got to go join his channel too, man. This dude is real smart, and he helps me out a lot. Hold on, where am I at here? Note. Is it on the sticky notes? That's what I meant. I am on the East Coast. So yeah, perfect, man. So Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fat Finger Squad in the building. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and stuff like that. That's Kelvin's channel. This dude is, he's real smart. He helps me out a lot too. So y'all go ahead and give him a follow. One more question. What time zone? Yeah, Eastern time zone. Time since the route was inserted in the routing table. Okay, so that's what this time right here is. That's how long it was inserted in the routing table. So it was inserted 11 seconds ago is what you're saying. So if I run it again, it was inserted 21 seconds ago. If I run it again, 25 seconds ago, right? And then remember, RIP goes away every 30 seconds, right? So that's right there. It started over. The clock starts over again because we get updates every 30 seconds with RIP. Please just kill me, man. Somebody wants to buy my little drill, man. I do want to get rid of that thing, man. So yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in. If y'all like what y'all see, leave me a comment below. Hit me with that like button. Share these videos on Cisco Learning Network or any forums you guys are in. We also have a Discord server. We got a lot of smart people in there. Kevin B in there popping in as well. He answers a lot of our questions and stuff like that. And if there's any kind of changes to the schedule, like sometimes like Saturday I was running late because I won a lot of basketball games that I did not anticipate playing ball that late, right? And then I ended up having to come, stream late. So instead of streaming at 8 o'clock, I streamed at 8:30 because I was running late. And typically I was on stream on a Saturday night. Like, what the hell? But ended up doing that anyway. But I gave some guys updates on the Discord server. So go ahead and join that Discord server as well. What else? That's pretty much it, man. We about halfway through that book. There's 101 labs in that book. Once we're done wrapping that up, I think we're going to move on to the CCNP level of that book. And then there's 2 lab manuals that I wanted to also take a look at. And we might mix that up. I still want to do that collab with my man, Patrick Kinane. He does a channel on like collaboration. So like voice and video and stuff like that. So if you want to get into like, telepresence devices and quality of service and stuff like that, QoS, go join, check out his channel. But we're going to do a collab. So like, with phones and stuff like voice over IP phones and stuff like that. So, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of that in this channel as well. Anyways, for now, comment, like, subscribe to the network.